Men fear that heaven records their sins. They tremble at the thought of a book that cannot be altered, a witness that cannot be bribed, a memory that does not fade. But they understand only half the truth. I am Metatron. I am the Scribe of Heaven, keeper of the record, witness to the weight of what is chosen in secret and revealed in time. And I tell you now, nothing is forgotten. Do not hear that as a threat too quickly. Men think remembrance belongs only to judgment, as if the eyes of heaven exist only to condemn. But heaven also remembers every mercy, every tear, every hidden act of courage no one on earth applauded. I know this because I was not always what I am now. I once walked where you walk. I once breathed the dust, carried the hours, and felt the burden of choosing rightly in a world that had grown crooked. I was a man before I became a sign. I knew what it meant to live among violence and corruption, to remain clean while the age around me celebrated decay. That is why I do not speak of mankind from a distance alone. I know how easily men believe their lives are too small to matter. They think only kings are recorded, only prophets are seen, only empires leave a mark. But heaven has never measured importance the way earth does. A throne may shake the nations, yet a single hidden act of faithfulness may weigh more in the scales of eternity. A whispered lie may shape a soul more deeply than a public speech. A private mercy may outlive monuments built in pride. That is what men forget. A life is not formed only by its grand moments. It is written by repetition, by quiet decisions, by the things you excuse, the things you resist, and the things you become willing to do when no one is watching. I am the witness to those layers, not merely to what was done, but to what the soul was becoming while it was done. Heaven does not only record your actions, it records the shape your heart takes through them. For every choice writes twice. It writes once upon the world and once upon the one who chose it. That is why nothing is small. A cruel word may pass in a moment, yet something in the speaker hardens. A truthful act may cost you dearly, yet something in you becomes stronger, clearer, more fit for light. Men think deeds disappear when the moment ends, but the soul remembers what the mouth has forgotten. This is the mystery of the record. It is not merely a ledger of crimes and virtues. It is the unfolding testimony of what each soul loved, resisted, feared, and served. I have seen men speak kindly in public while rotting inwardly from hidden worship of self. I have seen others stumble badly, yet turn back in tears, and through repentance become brighter than those who appeared spotless. Heaven is not deceived by appearances. That is why the record is terrible to the proud and precious to the humble. The proud want memory to fail them. They want the hidden thing to remain hidden forever, the selfish motive to be mistaken for generosity, the corruption to die before it is named. But the humble take comfort in remembrance, for they know that much of what is holy in a life is invisible on earth. The world may forget their restraint, overlook their endurance, and mock their obedience, but heaven does not. I have seen mothers whose sacrifices were never thanked. I have seen men who resisted ruin in lonely rooms where no witness stood beside them. I have seen the crushed, the mocked, the uncelebrated, and I tell you now, they were seen. Every time you chose patience when anger invited you, it was written. Every time you spoke truth when lying would have protected you, it was written. Every time you wept in prayer and thought no answer came, it was written. Do you understand? The record is not only the book of judgment, it is also the book of consolation. It is the place where forgotten faithfulness is never lost. That is why I do not speak only of fear. Yes, there is terror in remembrance for those who build themselves on deception. But there is also profound hope for those who believe their hidden suffering has vanished into silence. Nothing given to God is wasted. No wound offered in faith disappears. No silent endurance goes missing in the courts of heaven. Men often wish to be remembered for greatness. They want their names to stand above others, their achievements to survive the dust. Their image to remain after death has thinned the voice. But heaven seeks something deeper than fame. Heaven asks not merely, "What did you build?" but What did your building make of you? Not merely, what did you gain, but what did your gaining teach your heart to love? For some men build kingdoms and become hollow. Others live quietly, die unnoticed, and yet become strong in truth, rich in mercy, and fit for eternity. The second life is often greater, though the earth rarely says so. I was taken from among men not because I was mighty by the measures of the age, but because I walked with God. That is the beginning of all true transformation. Not brilliance, not applause, not power. Walk. Walk when the age is crooked. Walk when others mock restraint. Walk when faithfulness appears small and corruption appears rewarded. A soul is not transformed in one dazzling moment alone, but by thousands of steps taken in the same direction. That is why the record matters. Because your life is being written long before its final page is turned. And what is written is not only what happened to you, but what you kept choosing in response. Many ask why heaven keeps such a record. They imagine an endless archive built from cold perfection, as if God were merely collecting evidence. But the record exists because meaning is real. If your choices did not matter, they would not need to be remembered. If your hidden life carried no weight, heaven would have no reason to witness it. But because every soul is becoming something, every choice is grave. Some of you fear the book because you know what is in it. You remember the betrayal, the indulgence, the cruelty, the season of cowardice, the years lived beneath a false name. You hear that nothing is forgotten, and your heart becomes heavy. Hear me carefully. Remembrance is not the enemy of redemption. The wound may be recorded, but so is the repentance. The fall may be written, but so is the return. Heaven does not honor the lie that says a soul can never change. If that were true, transformation would be impossible, and my own voice would be a contradiction. I was once a man of dust. Now I stand as witness that what walks faithfully may be lifted beyond what it imagined. So do not confuse remembrance with hopelessness. The record is not fixed in the sense that growth cannot happen. It is fixed in the sense that every turn is real. When a man hardens himself, that hardening is written. When he breaks and finally yields to truth, that yielding is written. When he hides, it is written. When he returns, it is written. That is why repentance is so powerful. It does not erase the past as if nothing occurred. It transforms the meaning of what comes after it. It marks the place where a soul stopped defending darkness and turned its face toward light. I have seen men try to escape accountability by mocking heaven. I have seen them laugh at judgment, laugh at holiness, laugh at the idea that anything beyond appetite or survival might matter. But laughter has never altered truth. You can deny the record, but you cannot live outside it. You can call your chains freedom, your compromise wisdom, your numbness maturity. But the soul still becomes what it serves. That is one of the deepest laws of heaven. You move toward what you repeatedly honor. You become shaped by what you repeatedly excuse. And your life slowly reveals the throne before which you have been kneeling all along. Some kneel before power, some before pleasure, some before approval, some before bitterness, fear, comfort, or self. Yet every one of them believes for a while that the worship is harmless. But the record sees what the moment hides. It sees how one desire becomes a habit, how habit becomes character, and how character becomes destiny. This is why the small choice is never truly small. If you wish to change your life, do not wait for one great dramatic hour. Attend to the next true step. Attend to the next word, the next refusal, the next act of obedience, the next hidden mercy. That is how souls are rewritten in the language of heaven. I say this as one who has watched ages rise and vanish. Empires believed they were eternal, and now they are dust with names. Men chased glory as though it could save them, and discovered too late that glory cannot heal a crooked heart. Yet I have also seen the quiet ones, the faithful ones, the ones the world considered ordinary. Their names were scarcely spoken among men, but in heaven they burned with meaning. This is why you must not despise the ordinary day. The ordinary day is where eternity is most often chosen. not always on battlefields or before crowds, but in restraint, honesty, humility, endurance, prayer, and the simple refusal to betray what is true. Nothing is forgotten, not the sin you hide, not the mercy you gave, not the grief you carried, not the courage you thought was too small to matter, not the prayer you whispered when no answer seemed to come. That truth should trouble what is false in you, and comfort what is faithful in you. It should humble the proud, awaken the careless, and strengthen the weary who believe their quiet obedience has gone unseen. So hear me. Live as one whose life is being written, because it is. Speak as one whose words take root, because they do. Choose as one whose soul is being shaped, because it is being shaped even now. Do not wait to become holy in some distant future while feeding darkness in the present. Do not call your private life unimportant. The hidden life is where the visible life is born. If you have done evil, turn now. If you have been false, turn now. If you have been divided, numb, lawless, or proud, turn now. The page before you is still unwritten, though the pages behind you remain true. And if you have been faithful in weariness, do not lose heart. If you have walked in obscurity, do not imagine yourself forgotten. If you have suffered without applause, know that heaven has not mistaken your silence for emptiness. I am Metatron. I was once a man, and now I stand among the records of heaven. I have seen how every hidden choice becomes a line in the soul, and I tell you this with both warning and hope. Nothing is forgotten, and therefore nothing is meaningless.